Hello and welcome back to Rain Check. We will not be continuing any route right now. Instead, we will be doing the short story for Javier, which is, well, helping Dust out. Javier finds a memento from his first investigation, which I believe is the first investigation that he did with Ro, I think. I don't remember. I think he had his own before that. Anyways, we'll find out. Anyways, so yeah, let us begin. I'm just about there. See you soon. The line disconnects as I maneuver the car across the busy intersection. Eventually, I turn into the familiar side street and find a parking just across from Dust's building. It's that time of the year again. I hope Dust doesn't need me to move too many things. I'm still recovering from last year's ordeal. I'm here. I look around, but don't see Dust behind the usual counter. He must be in the back. There's a bunch of boxes and items scattered across the cafe, haphazardly blocking my path. Hey Dust? Where are you? I hear faint shuffling in the back, causing me to turn towards the sound. I'll be right there. I'm just organizing some stock in the back at the moment. Make yourself comfy in the meantime. Okay. I carefully navigate through all the junk splaying out and hop onto my usual seat at the bar counter. I tap my paws on the counter, waiting for Dust to appear from the staff door and start his tax returns for the year. I have no idea why he insists on cleaning up at the same week that we scheduled to do his taxes. Oh, what's this? There are a few faded photos scattered along the countertop that catch my eye. I reach over to examine them, realizing immediately what they are: old photos of Dust's cafe when he had just purchased a lot. It's been more than a decade now. I flip through the rest of the pile and see one of Dust, Ro, and me inside his cafe. When was this taken? I look so stupid in this image. I'm tempted to pocket it and burn this, but I won't. Hey, I see you found the photos. I was going to surprise you with them. The Dust comes up from behind and places a stack of boxes beside me. Well, you should have done a better job of hiding these. Fair. Need me to make you your regular? Sure. Dust turns to the machinery lined up against the wall and brews a cup of coffee for me as I continue to stare at the photo in my paw. Hey Dust, do you remember when this photo was taken? That one? I'm not sure. Give me a second. I wave the photo, trying to get Dust's attention as he grinds the beans in the machine. Should be around 2 years ago, along with everything else in the pile. They were all in the gray folder that was inside a cabinet in the back. Here. He walks over with my freshly brewed coffee and stares at the photo in my paw carefully. Ah, this photo. You really don't remember? Of course I remember. Give me a second to collect my thoughts. You forgot, haven't you? I stare at the steaming coffee in front of me, trying to buy time as I desperately try to recall the memory. I wouldn't say I forgot. It feels more like I'm trying to recall a repressed memory. Probably has something to do with how stupid I look in this photo. Why am I covered in a blanket and sneezing? You don't look bad. You look like the same as you do now. Hey. You know what I mean. He takes the photo from my paw and studies it even more carefully. Ah, this photo. That security camera took this, remember? He points to the small camera mounted by the wall across from us. This was the day that you introduced me to your work and your co-worker, Ro. I concentrate harder on the coffee in front of me, staring at my murky reflection as it's still too hot to drink from. It's all slowly coming back to me. I stare at the coffee on the desk and roll my eyes at the mountain of paperwork that's piled up. Ugh. Why aren't these all digitized? What year are we living in? I down the cup and sift through the documents, trying to separate the accounts receivable in one neat pile. I should be able to go through at least half of this pile before lunch, with the script that I managed to write. The documents begin being processed, and the script makes quick work in organizing the data onto spreadsheets, which I pride myself on coming up with. As I sift through the documents again, I spot a large canine standing by my cubicle, tapping his paws on the walls and watching me work. Javier? I squint my eyes, surprised by the presence. I don't think that I've seen them before. Yes? Can I help you? Good. I got the right person. I'm Ro. He extends out his large paw, forcing me to angle myself over my desk to shake awkwardly. Hello, Ro. If this is about your paycheck, I was reassigned that task. You should speak with the payroll team. I know there have been issues with that on our system, but... Not payroll. Andrew told me that you could help me with the case that I'm working on. I cock a brow at him, shaking my head in confusion. Is this field work? I'm an accountant. I don't do that. That isn't what the boss told me. He said that you have a knack for tech, for lack of better words. He also told me that you took the aptitude test for fun and aced it. Are we that low on resources that we've resorted to using staff like me? Alright, if you're not interested, I'll let Andrew know. Oh, wait, I didn't say that I wasn't interested. I was just surprised that I'm needed for this kind of stuff. What exactly do you need me to do? We got something of a foul play case. ARC C609. You know anything about that kind of stuff? Not off the top of my head. Give me a second to pull it up on the system. I enter the necessary credentials and quickly skim over the information on the case. No need. Here. The wolf tosses a folder of papers and files neatly tucked away on my desk. This is what I've managed to gather so far. It's more detailed than the crap on the database so far, mostly because I haven't had time to update it. I perused through the folder, noting the particulars of the case. How sad. If I'm reading this correctly, we're being hired to get information on a particular death. The client suspects foul play in their partner's death, am I correct? Yes, the victim's a 40-year-old red panda named Michael, who was apparently off to visit an old friend, which turned out to be an ex. Michael was found dead in their garage due to carbon monoxide poisoning shortly after, and it was ruled a suicide. What's strange was that he had a substantial amount of substances in his system, but he's had a history of substance abuse before, which I guess the coroners ignored. Do we know what kind of substance it was? There were a few, but the highest detected was morphine. Morphine? How'd he get his paws on that? I'm not sure, but I did most of the intel investigation already, and I've managed to pinpoint where Michael's ex, Grant, lived, a large mansion complex to the north. And that's where you come in. I'll be needing your help. The place is riddled with surveillance. So I'm gonna need you to distract the cameras while we figure out which room the client's partner died in. I raise a brow at the wolf, skeptical of how foolproof his plan is. Right. And suppose we do find this room. You're not thinking of just breaking in and gathering evidence, are you? What? What's with that look? You got any better ideas? We can discuss the specifics on our ride there, I suppose. When do we have to head out? I was thinking that I could finish... Now. I'll be waiting for you in the parking lot. What? Now? Why is it so last minute? It's exactly because it was so last minute that you were assigned. I stare at the remaining unfiled documents on my desk and sigh deeply. Fine. Just give me a second to get some things. I stare nervously at my paws as Rose speeds down the freeway. Every bump and turn makes me grip the seat tighter, anxiety clawing at my mind. Why did I agree to this? I cast the occasional glance over at the wolf, surprised at how he's able to fit himself in such a vehicle with his large size. It's been quiet since we left the office, with our only exchanges being brief and work-related. Hey. Yes? How long have you been working at ARC? I don't think that I've seen you around. Just a couple of months now. I see. It's been the same for me. Right. You're awfully quiet. You nervous going on your first case? No, I'm not. I'm thinking about the paperwork that I need to finish when I get back. Also, will I be required to exert myself? Because I prefer not to if I have the choice. That depends on what you mean by exert. What I'm trying to say is that I think that I should leave the laborious tasks to you since you seem to be more fitted for that. You got a medical condition or something? Something like that. Can you run at least? Yes, but not for long. It's exhausting. The conversation naturally dies down, and the awkward silence returns. Not that I mind it. The drive continues before Rogue decides to speak up again. So, how long have you been married? My face flushes from confusion as I glare at Rose's question. Excuse me? The ring on your paw. Oh, this? I pull the small, silver ring off my right paw and fidget with it. No, this is just something that I made recently. Or I guess bought and then overrode the hardware. So you hacked it? I suppose you can say that. It's a smart ring. And I'm not married. A smart ring, huh? And what exactly can it do? A lot, but I've yet to test most of its features in a more applied setting. It uses the Rapid Understanding and Diagnostics Yield Framework, RUDY for short. I'm designing some blueprints to transform this into a pair of glasses when I get the time. The wolf nods slowly, not taking his eyes off the road, but I can see some confusion forming on his face with what I just said. Ahem. Anyway, what about you? Are you married? I cringe at myself when I realize that I had returned the question out of courtesy without even thinking. No, I'm single. Haven't found the right guy. I see. My gaze returns to my paws as I sit quietly, taking in the fact that my investigation partner is a homosexual. Can we change the topic? I was going to ask earlier, how'd you find the position at ARC, because I know that we don't advertise our listings online. Through a friend, I was told ARC needed more accountants. And what were you doing before, if you don't mind me asking? Freelance work as a financial advisor. The pay was sporadic, so I wanted something more stable. Makes sense. Well, what about you? He chuckles back and gives me a wink, causing me to fluster. I'd rather not say. I wasn't anything important anyway. I decide to respect his boundaries and not press further. You're Mexican. You should be nosy by default. The rest of the drive is quiet and we eventually make our way to the point of interest. We're here. We can make the rest of the trek on foot. Follow me. I managed to find a path the other day. There is an opposing mansion off in the distance with copious amounts of greenery protecting the inside from prying eyes. If I'm not mistaken, the street is one of the wealthiest in the city. I suppose we have no choice. The wolf signals me to follow him to a hidden path between some trees, and that's when I realize how big he truly is. Best to stay close to him in case something happens. I've never done anything like this before. We walk around the perimeter of the mansion's tall metal fence, safely hidden behind the bushes and trees. At first glance, it appears that no one is home with how vacant the lot looks, but mansions like this can be deceptive. Let's stop here before we get any closer and go over the plan. I'll need you to go through the main gate and ring the intercom, making your way to the main entrance. Based on what I've observed the past week, there shouldn't be anyone home until later this evening besides a tall husky butler named Times, who also watches the cameras. While you're distracting Times, I'll be around the back attempting to gain access through the faulty backdoor gate. I'll make my way up to the room when I suspect Michael was murdered and see what evidence I can gather. Sounds good? You're kidding, right? No? Is this the kind of tactic that you've been doing for the past couple of months? I'm surprised you haven't jeopardized or got ARC sued yet with how outlandish your methods are. It's uncoordinated, tactless, and downright dangerous. The wolf shakes his head at me in annoyance. You got any better ideas then? Well, for starters, even if we distract times, there's no guarantee that our presence won't be recorded and found out at a later date. Plus, do we even have the permission to snoop around people's private property? This seems extremely illegal. The paperwork has already been cleared to investigate the property. But? Ro pauses, looking at the mansion before returning to me. We're technically allowed to enter their house, but we have to make our presence known since there's no other way to go about it. Were you thinking of sneaking into their house to gather evidence? Have all your plans so far been to brute force things and hope that they magically work out? We don't even have an escape plan or a contingency plan in case something goes wrong. He lets out a long, deep groan and reluctantly nods at me. Save your lecturing. You clearly have something in mind. What is it? I suggest that we swap roles. You should distract times at the door, and I'll be the one to search the room. For the escape, we can backtrack our steps. Just make sure that I'm the one first out of the mansion before anything. What? You don't know the layout of the mansion at all. You'll get lost. I take out my bit flipper and flash my ring at Ro, smirking. And what the hell is that? You some kind of spy or something? Just trust me on this. I'll be fine. Besides, may I remind you that you came to me for help? He strokes his beard before ultimately patting me on the shoulder. Fine. You better impress me then. Follow the gate until it diverges and take it left towards the back door. Based on what I was able to find out, Michael could have been murdered in the third-story master bedroom bathroom, or the second-story guest bathroom by the second flight of stairs. You got that? Yes, third-story master bedroom bathroom, second-story guest bathroom by the second flight of stairs. All right then. Keep an eye on your phone. I'll contact you on the proxy network if anything happens. I'll distract times for you as long as I can at the front. The wolf turns around and returns towards the path's entrance. Let's see where this back door is. I follow a small winding trail between the undergrowth until I hit a clearing. So this must be their backyard. I spot a large gate that separates the fencing. This must be the back door Ro was talking about. I reach into my pocket to fetch the bit flipper, setting it to manual mode and start checking the area for any hits. As I surmised, this place is riddled with cameras. That's not a problem for me, though. I aim the bit flipper towards the mansion, where most of the spikes in the activity is by the monitor on the ring, and disable them one by one until the area is silent on the radar. Easy as that, and that wolf was going to storm in there completely detected. I walk over to the gate and notice that the security latch has been rusted away. So this is what the wolf meant. I slip through carefully, trying to not make too much noise as I make a beeline for the back entrance. A smile slowly spreads across my face as I realize the back door knob is electronically locked. I point the bit flipper that's still in my paw and aim it directly dead center at the handle. This is too easy. It's Ro. Perfect timing. Approaching the front gate. I hastily tap back a reply asking for a signal while watching my surroundings. A few seconds pass before I hear the doorbell ring. That must be my cue. I quickly sneak inside, removing my ring and toggling its settings as I go. Following the long, winding hallway, I find a small staircase around the corner. This must be it. I scurry up the stairs and fiddle with the ring. After a few taps, it starts blinking with various intensity as I aim it down the hallway, pointing it at the doors. Good. The high-energy ultrasounds are working. Rudy, measure depth. I quickly sneak down the hallway, making sure not to get caught as I continue to aim the ring at each door I encounter, the light flickering the shades of blue and purple. Just how big is this place? Rich people, I swear. After exploring what feels like minutes, the ring eventually lights up a bright red at the door at the end of the hallway. This red, huh? Just how big is the room on the other side? I try to turn the handle, noticing that it's been locked from the other side. And it's a normal lock too. How annoying. I rummage through my jacket and pull out two small, thin picks and slowly work the lock carefully, constantly looking behind me to make sure that no one's behind me. And... there. I still got it. Just as I thought, The guest room. I close the door behind me and change the settings on my ring again. I haven't tested this mode, but... Rudy scanned the room. I set the ring down by a cabinet as it does the scan, leaving me time to look around the room. This is as big as my apartment. Carefully, I tread around the edge of the room, making sure not to leave any sign of my presence. This room looks clean. Almost too clean. I squat down and look underneath the bed, expecting to discover something vital, but not surprisingly, there's nothing. I pace back to my ring, seeing the flashing screen that signals the scan is complete. Picking it up and pointing it at the headboard, the ring flashes even more. There must be something there. The vibrations continue to grow stronger as I walk over until I practically am standing next to the bed. Nothing out of the ordinary, besides some questionable stains on the headboard. I shake my head in disgust. It was a false alarm. So it must be the upstairs bathroom after all. I spin around to the door. Panic sets in as I see the handle start to turn and the door slowly open. My paws slip into my coat, ready to brandish out the small taser that I always keep on myself. A large figure slowly enters the room and a sigh escapes me when I realize that it's Ro. What the fuck are you doing here? You scared the fuck out of me. Me? You're lucky that I didn't tase you just now. Tase? Where the fuck did you get a tase? Anyhow, how's the search going? I'm surprised you were able to find this room. I flash the ring in my palm and grin at the wolf in earnest. Of course, it's all thanks to my tech. The fuck? You're telling me that tiny thing helped you get in here? Yes, and it also helped me scan the room, which I can safely say there isn't anything incriminating in here. Rose scratches his beard, torn between being impressed and confused. By the way, where's Times? What did you do to them? Nothing important. Let's just say that I took care of them. You what? Ro, I've never done fieldwork before at ARC, but I'm pretty sure that, from the training that I did, that we're not supposed to. Relax, I'm not insane. I didn't hurt the guy. I just created a small distraction outside the mansion. Times is dealing with it right now, but we have to be quick. Distraction? What did you do? The wolf turns around, ignoring my question, and backs out into the hallway. Hey, answer me. We can't just do whatever we want, you know. We could get into serious legal trouble. Rose stops, his eyes narrowing in annoyance as he stares back at me. We're already inside. Let's just finish this and get out. Besides, all I did was let Times know that there was a fire outside the property. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to check the bathroom upstairs. Feel free to check anywhere else with your ring. Wait, it'll be quicker if I tag along with the ring. I follow Ro when he doesn't respond back, and I follow behind him as he expectantly navigates to the staircase, and we make our way up in silence. This way. Try to keep up. He leads me down another similar hallway before stopping in front of a large wooden door. Is this the bathroom? Let me open it with my... Did you just snap the lock through sheer strength? This guy is insane. Not to mention sloppy, leaving paw prints all over everything. Get in. I'll trust your gadgets for now and assume that whatever we're looking for is probably in here. Let's look around quickly. We don't have much time. Rose scours the bathroom, carefully examining the walls and floors. Meanwhile, I take out my ring and set it on the counter, deciding to do another scan. Try not to move so much. I'm going to do another scan. The wolf's attention bounces between me and my ring skeptically. This better impress me. We stand motionless, silently waiting for the scan to complete until my ring starts flashing. Aha! Seems like it detected something unusual. I pick up the ring and it starts to vibrate more and more as I walk towards the bathtub. And what do we have here? There is a small flecks of light tan powder at the edge of the tub. Some kind of powder? I'm about to lean down and examine it closer when I feel a large paw grip my tail and hold me back. Hey, what's the big deal? I wouldn't get close to that if I were you. I turn around and see Ro holding a small pill bottle he had retrieved from the medicine cabinet behind us. I bet you that it's this. He lobs the bottle at me and I barely am able to catch it in time. Morphine? I read the bottle again and see that it's been medically prescribed by a physician. Is your ring sophisticated enough to cross-check the powder with this? If it is, then we got our culprit and enough evidence for our client. I never implemented a feature like that before, but I guess I can do it manually to see if they have the same biosignatures. I aim my ring at the plastic bottle, trying to scan it first without contaminating the inside. There, this should only take a second. Without warning, Ro lunges towards the window beside me, and I drop my ring in shock. You idiot! What are you doing? We have to go. He's back early. Who? Times? No, it's Grant. We have to go. I look around and notice my ring nowhere to be found. My ring! Where'd it go? My eyes scan the bathtub fruitlessly. Did he roll into the drain? We don't have time for that. They're pulling up the driveway as we speak. He snatches the bottle, pockets it, and drags me out of the room. Hey, wait! What about my ring? Where are we going? A way out. Ro looks around frantically before motioning me to the other side of the hall. Don't talk, just follow. We rush over to the other side and I'm quickly out of breath. Hurry, in here. The wolf slams its body into the door, causing it to swing wide open. Jesus Christ, Ro. He runs in, leaving me several steps behind. Wait up! Seeing me struggle for breath, Ro suddenly scoops me up by the waist. Hey, don't touch me! Quit making noise. We don't have time for this. He runs to the bedroom, carrying me in his shoulder, opening another door that leads to the balcony. You're crazy. You're not going to jump, are you? It's 3 stories down. There's a swimming pool right below us. Hold on tight. Wait, I don't know how to swim. Suddenly, Ro leaps off the balcony. My entire body is lifted off the ground. Panic grips me and I cling tightly to the wolf. Ro, you... The sudden shock from the cold water sends me in shock, and I feel my body freeze and tense up. The weight of my clothes drag me down, hindering my movement as I struggle to stay afloat. There's a sudden cold rush that surrounds me and everything starts to fade. Something heavy presses down on me, intermittently. There it is again. What was I going to do? That's right, we were escaping. That's when we jumped into the pool. The heavy feeling returns again, but this time I'm able to open my eyes to see what it is. Everything is a blur at first. Suddenly black and orange eyes come into focus, inches from my face. His lips press against mine and my eyes fly open in shock. Ro? I try to shout, but end up coughing up water instead, my face heating up. Good. You're awake. Let's get the fuck out of here. Did you just... you were on top of me and I... CPR. I pulled you out of the water. I've never seen someone sink so fast in the water. You were only in for 5 seconds max. I told you, you brute. I can't swim, but you didn't listen. Not everyone is as big as you either. I'm barely able to stand in the shallow areas. Ro ignores my remark, and only now do I realize that we're 100 feet away from the mansion, back by the tree line. I struggle to get up, my clothes made heavy by the water soaked in it. I can barely move in this. I look down at my clothes and remember the phone in my pocket. My stuff is ruined. Ro, you're gonna pay for this. I try to rummage out my phone, but stop when I notice that my paws are bloodied. What? That's when I glance at Ro and see him covering his arm as he jogs down the path. Ro, explain yourself. What happened? I try my best to run over, my pace hampered by my wet clothes. Don't worry about it. Let's get back to the car. I study his arm and notice a substantial amount of blood seeping through the paw, covering the injury. Thank God we're back on the road. Ro looks more annoyed than anything. He digs into his pocket and throws his car keys at me, a small amount of blood covering them. Get us out of here. I'll be fine. Are you sure you're fine? What kind of escape was that? I almost drowned, and you got injured, probably leaving a blood trail too, with how badly it's bleeding. The wolf takes his paw off his arm, and I recoil at the sight of the cut. I'm fine. It's more long than deep. I don't think that I'll need any stitches for this. Definitely need to clean this coat, though. I shake my head disapprovingly as Ro ignores me and gets into the back seat. I hop in, immediately adjusting the seat and mirror. God, is this how much space he takes up? You're not gonna take off your clothes. You're soaking wet still. No, I'd rather not. I catch a glimpse of Ro stripping off his coat in the back seat. My eyes avert away when I notice his muscles. That's when I notice a car not too far away in the rearview mirror, slowly driving up to us. Wait, they're coming out of the mansion. Panicked, I start the car and gun down the street as fast as I can. Shit. I'm gonna take you to a friend. They should be able to help us. The drive takes longer than I'd like, with last-minute detours to lose the car following us. We're here. It's the building to our left. Let's just hope that he's here. I would have called him, but someone decided to flood all my electronics. You're welcome for saving your life. I glance at Ro and the rest of the walk is shrouded in tense silence. So a coffee shop, Can't say that I've been to this part of town before. Yes, they run a coffee shop. I stare back at Ro's arm, shaking my head at the wound. How's your arm doing? Better. It stopped bleeding. He pulls up his sleeve and I recoil away, cringing at the sight of the dried blood and stain across his fur and arm. Ugh, don't show me that. It's repulsive. Follow me. Let me introduce you to my friend. Smells like dark roast. I like this place already. Ugh, it's so cold in here. My fur hasn't dried yet. I spot the puma standing on a stepladder at the back. Looks like he's configuring some kind of security camera on the wall. I walk over, trying not to shiver too much from the air conditioning blasting right above Dust. Dust, what are you doing? Javier, happy to see you again. How have you been? I didn't know that you would be visiting today. I would have told you if it wasn't for him waterlogging my phone. We both turn to stare at Ro, who's seated by the counter, pouring himself a cup of coffee. And he is? Ro. I was assigned to do field work with him earlier. I start to stammer over my words, feeling my wet clothes slowly draining the heat from me. And what happened here? You're completely wet and shivering. Let me get you a towel. Thank you. Your friend makes good coffee. He takes another sip before cocking a brow at me. So, what are we doing here? The Dust knows everyone in town. Here's a towel. I wrap the towel around myself, trying to stop myself from shivering. You might want some of this coffee too. I grab the cup and sit down by the counter, trying to warm myself up. You must be Ro. I'm Dust. Pleasure. How do you like the coffee? It's not bad. Brewed just the way I like it. They shake paws before staring back at me. So Dust, Javier says that you're able to help us out? That depends. What seems to be the issue? Where to begin? The two started discussing the events that had transpired. The assignment, the mansion, the pool incident. I see. I'm out of just the thing. One moment. Dust goes to the back, bringing out his small record-keeping book. What's this? I like to note down everything that happens in the city, keep track of things, for my own sake. Interesting. He flips through the pages and passes it over to Ro. You should read that. I think it might be important. Jesus, this is some detailed notes on times. Yes, when I heard that you mentioned the tall, husky butler, I knew it had to be them. Fortunately or unfortunately, I ended up making a name for myself in the high-end district of town, and I frequently get customers from all walks of life coming here. According to your notes, Times had spoken to you sometime last month about Grant's morphine purchase. Yes, we often exchange small talk, and he sometimes purchases coffee beans from me. He had mentioned about delivering Grant to the hospital and that he was prescribed medication for his fracture. The dates check out. I only started monitoring Grant last week, and I did notice a particular limp. The wolf takes out the bottle of morphine from his pocket and tosses it to dust. Ah, this would be it. We still don't know if it's morphine in the bottle, but based on the label, it pretty much is. You mentioned that it was found in Michael's system? Yep, but medics ignored it for an overdose coupled with the carbon monoxide poisoning suicide in his garage. That is tragic. You know, we could use someone like you at ARC. What do you think about joining? No, I would need to politely decline. Javier's had brought this up to me before as well, but like I said to him, running a coffee shop like this has always been my dream. How about working on the side with us, with your connections? It might prove useful for a lot of these cases, like you just saw. I'll think about it. The wolf studies the book some more before sliding it back to dust. Send us a copy of that page. I think it's more than enough proof to tie Michael's murder to Grant. Will do. Glad you have been of help, and... Oh dear. What happened to your sleeve? Caught my arm against the barbed fence trying to escape. Well, that's no good. Of course it's not good. I can't believe how reckless and rash your plans are. You're going to get yourself killed at some point. Running around leaving tracks and disregarding safety. I try to control my stammering, but my body is absolutely freezing at that moment. Achoo! Ugh. That's Javier for you. Pay him no mind. He's like that to everyone, even me. Let me get you some alcohol and a cloth for that scratch, though. Noted. Although he has a point. Maybe I should have learned to be more like you, Javier. You think? I can't believe I almost drowned because of you. My mind flashes back to the CPR row performed on me, and I feel my face flush. But I guess everything worked out in the end. You don't think Grant's going to call the police on us if he finds out? No, we have some form of immunity from the search warrant that we got. Let's just exclude that part where we jumped into the pool. Good thing that I disabled the cameras back there. Perfect. Well then, case closed. Though all thanks to you, Dust. The wolf pats my shoulder, groaning as I am too cold to retort to the unwanted physical contact. You too, Javier. I'm impressed. Maybe you should do field work more often. I think we make a good team. I roll my eyes at the wolf, trying not to become too flustered. I'll think about it. The wolf shakes his paw at a couple of times, wiping it on his leg. You know, your clothes are still damp. I'll take them off if I were you. It's not helping your chills. I'm not cold. Achoo! Right. I can feel my face blush as Ro and Dust tower over me, both of them exchanging glances and staring me down. Javier's not comfortable with his body. He's always been like this, ever since he was a kid. Don't worry about it. It's almost kinda cute. Hey, I'm not cute. I see. Say, you guys have been long-time friends or something? Yes, since childhood. We grew up on the same streets back in Mexico, and eventually moved here together. Not like I had a choice. Des kept bothering me every week, asking me to fix his stuff. You always offer to help, even after we moved. I always appreciate the extra help from you. I cover up my face with a towel as I feel it redden and blush. So the fox has a soft side too? I would have never guessed. What do you mean by that? Achoo! The two men chuckle at me while I try my best to look unfazed. You'll get used to it. Hope he wasn't too much. Too much? Honestly, he did a lot of the heavy lifting. I was surprised. Never seen gadgets like this before. I look away, trying my best to hide my smile underneath the towel. That's Javier for you. They continued to talk, the topic changing too fast for me to keep up in my current state. Eventually, I lose focus on the conversation as I struggle to keep myself from shivering. Hey, if you don't mind, Ro, you're tall enough to reach that camera back there, right? Could you help me retract it back in its frame? Sure. This one? That's the one. Wow, look at you. You're so tall that you don't even need the stepladder. Achoo! There, it's back on. Ah, the light just turned blue. I think you accidentally pressed the manual photo mode in the process. Why is that a thing? Don't ask me, ask Javier. He's a tech guy. Security feature. Achoo! A little bit more to the left, and there, you got it. Achoo! Christ, take off your goddamn clothes. You're going to get sick. No, I'm fine. Achoo! 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 Okay. You win. I'll take off my shirt. Rain check. So that was Javier's side story. I guess it does answer some questions on how they got together. And I mean, it's clear that Ro definitely needed someone to balance out his just brutish nature of literally just breaking through barriers. It's like, oh, it's a locked door. Here, let me bust it open. Oh, this doorknob went open. Let me crush it open. But also it would be needed for Javier sort of overly cautious and seemingly lack of athletic prowess, where, like, you know, he needed Ro's brute strength. But yeah, so there you have it. That was Ro and Javier's first case. Well, technically, Javier's first case, because Ro apparently was already working there and was already doing stuff. I kind of wonder if eventually we will get Ro's first case. That would be something to see. I believe that technically speaking, Ro and Lawrence were actually partnered up in the past. They were working together, I guess, in a way. So maybe that's something that we'll see. But yeah. Ooh. So what did you guys think? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching/listening. If you would like to play Rain Check yourself or stay up to date with it or whatever, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download it and play the game yourself. Or you can just go to itch.io and download it there. You know, that's, you know, something you can do. I will also be posting down a link for their Patreon where you can get early access to builds of Rain Check. Or if you would just want to support the project, because I believe there's tiers. But yeah, all pertinent links down in the description as per usual. And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.